Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I think the fandom as a whole is changing, for the better, in fact. And I know that can be hard to see, I know that can be hard to recognize, given that there always seems to be some toxic piece of video on the internet, usually from the Fandom Menace, always screaming, always yelling, always hating. Same thing, different day. I can get that. But recently what I've noticed is that I have seen more and more channels popping up every single day who are dedicated to rational, optimistic enjoyment of Star Wars. They may not all agree on the same things, but they do promote optimism. They do promote hope. They do promote understanding, which is a far cry different from the Fandom Menace. And surprisingly, some of them are actually ex-members of the Fandom Menace. These are people who were a part of that organization, saw how they work, saw how they behave, and somehow managed to crawl through that sewage to escape. And the worst possible thing we could do as a fandom is be there on the outside waiting to dogpile them because they aren't protected by their community anymore. The best thing we could do is be the people on the outside with open arms ready to accept them, which I understand can be hard to do because people don't like to unite with people that disagree with them. They might absolutely hate the sequel trilogy, but if they are willing to do so in a rational, reasonable, and responsible manner that isn't toxically fueled, that isn't promoting hatred, that isn't demanding you hate it. It's just them expressing their opinion and just saying, look, I don't like the way Star Wars has been handled. If you like it, that's great. I don't. That's my opinion. The worst thing we could possibly do is to give those people the excuse to fall back in line with the Fandom Menace by being just as intolerant as them. Because it's that kind of thinking that has people so deathly loyal to the Fandom Menace because they genuinely believe they are protecting their opinion. What they don't seem to notice is that it's quite the opposite. Because these people, especially recently with the situation with Moses Ingram, it's because they created this logical loop that keeps these people loyal to them. And it's not for the interest of protecting your opinion. And it's as plain to see when Disney, Lucasfilm, and Star Wars come to the defense of their actor and say, hey, to the people sending our actor racist and toxic comments, could you stop? Because if you look at what Disney, Lucasfilm, or Star Wars, whoever you want to call it, had to say, reread their comments. The only people that came forward to conflate that those who say racist comments with the same people who criticize Star Wars in any way is the Fandom Menace. And it creates this interesting loop where the Fandom Menace conflates these two opinions together in the same boat, even though Disney, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, whatever you want to call it, didn't say that. And you can read the comments for yourself. They don't say it. And by all means, read them and comment down below exactly where they say all Star Wars fans that criticize our shows are racist. It's not there. And if you're trying to tell me it's implied, bullshit. That is complete manipulation of their words to force it to mean something angry and hateful and anti anyone who disagrees with me. Okay? That's just, it's bullshit. They start by creating that controversy by conflating those two opinions together, which in turn causes people to conflate those two opinions together by then seeing, oh, hey, look at the Fandom Menace who just came out of the woodworks completely unannounced, unprovoked, to say that, our opinions are being attacked, they're being called racist, even though they're not, which forces people to go, oh, well, if you're defending the racist comments, because no one said that no one said or implied that negative comments or criticisms are universally racist. The only people who said that were you, Fandom Menace. So that's what causes people to attack your opinions, thinking that your opinion of just saying, I just don't like the direction Kenobi series is going, is racist. Then, here comes the Fandom Menace, championing themselves as the defenders of your opinion, pearl clutching, and talking about how outrageous this is, which in turn gets you to subscribe to their channel because you think they're defending your opinion that they threw under the bus to begin with. I'm actually blowing my mind right now with how much sense this is making. This is just, how has no one really thought of this yet? In fact, if I was a member of the Fandom Menace, I could have made a video that not only would have protected your opinion, but also made the fandom out to look far more rational and reasonable, and maybe even win some people over to their side of thinking than ever before. And it would have gone something like this. So recently, Moses Ingram has been receiving racist and toxic comments for her portrayal of the third sister in the Kenobi series. And Disney and Lucasfilm have come forward to ask that those specific people stop. And I couldn't agree more. I want to make something very clear, that the people who make those kind of racist, toxic comments towards someone are completely condemned by the Fandom Menace personally. They do not share our opinion. The only thing that links us in any way is this common detail that we both dislike something, but how they choose to word their displeasure, how they choose to behave, does not represent us, does not represent our ideas, does not represent our opinion. So I hope for anyone on the outside, anyone outside of the Fandom Menace sequel fans, which we'll actually acknowledge because we're mature, I hope they'll be able to see that by us condemning these racist, toxic people who are needlessly attacking an innocent actor, they'll be able to see that our opinion, just because we don't like something, is different than theirs. The way we handle our opinion is different from theirs. And they don't conflate the two together. And just like that, I've helped the Fandom Menace. But they didn't do that, did they? Which is weird, because these are multi-thousand, if not million, subscriber channels. As hard as it is for us to acknowledge, these guys, they're not stupid. Which is strange, because for someone like me who's just passed a couple, like 600 subscribers, why is it I'm able to piece this together? Why is it I'm able to figure this out, follow the logic train? But these people with multi-million subscribers who've made it their career of talking to people and thinking about what they're going to say in the most logical manner to get people on their side, didn't think of these issues. It's because they know what they're saying. They know who they're marketing to, and every word that they say is 100% intentional, because it creates this infinite loop that creates conflict that they're able to play off of, that they're able to cry their crocodile tears and pearl clutch about, and create videos on that will continuously keep people watching their nonsense. Which is why I'm so hopeful for what's been happening recently, because, as I said, there are more channels popping up dedicated to basically be the anti-Fandom Menace. And we have a real chance to make a real change for this fandom. It just depends on what we choose to do. Now, there are a number of people that have thought that if we just ignore the Fandom Menace, they'll go away. The reality is, they haven't gone away in 20 years. They didn't go away then, they're not going away now. But what has me so hopeful is that going back to the height of the Fandom Menace's power, when they were the most dominant force on the internet, which technically speaking they still are right now, they said all the exact same things they said about the sequels, about the prequels. I know people like to forget that the Fandom Menace absolutely appalled the prequel trilogy and demanded the exact same fate for the prequels as the sequels by wanting them to be decanonized. They were the dominant power then. And while being that dominant power, with next to no one out there voicing a differing opinion, the only thing they managed to accomplish in that time was they got to ruin the enjoyment of filmmaking for Lucas, to the point that he sold Star Wars to Disney to get away from us. Before anyone decides to comment that he didn't sell Star Wars to get away from the fandom, he sold it to work on other projects. Here's the issue with that. There's absolutely no reason, no logical reason, why he couldn't have just simply created a board of people that he trusted and just gave them the orders of, look, I don't want to work on Star Wars anymore. Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, I trust you guys to know what I would want to do. Make the stories however you want. If you have any questions, consult me. Otherwise, just leave me out of it. I want to work on my own projects. There's no reason why he couldn't have done that. Not to mention the added fact that he sold Star Wars for $4 billion, which is reportedly $2 billion less than what it was worth. And I'm sorry, $2 billion trumps any excuse you got. Because people don't just walk away from $2 billion. Sorry. What that tells me is that the way this fandom treated Lucas was so horrible. Lucas was so desperate to get away from this fandom that he was willing to take a $2 billion discount to his own story just to get away from us. See, this is the stark difference. This is where I am using the words to collectively refer to the entire fan base, not just a handful of people. I'm saying everybody shares responsibility in this. And for any of you out there who might be commenting, well, I never attacked Lucas, I never harassed the prequels, I actually genuinely love those things. Did you voice it though? Did you really? Did you voice it as loud as the Fandom Menace? Because I heard no one in my entire time. Or did you think that maybe if you just ignored them, if you just left the Fandom Menace alone, they would go away? Well, they're still here after 20 years. So clearly that didn't work. And the reason why that's such a big issue is when you choose not to talk and the Fandom Menace is the only one doing the talking, even if we go on the assumption, the idea that the Fandom Menace is just the vocal minority, and we as the fans that actually love Star Wars are the vast silent majority, is when we're not doing any of the talking, when we're the minority group talking, we might as well be the minority group. Because when the majority of the people talking are the people of the Fandom Menace, they are the majority of the people that are being heard. Which is why recent events are giving me so much hope, because now more than ever, there are more people popping up across the internet voicing their love for Star Wars, voicing their love for the sequel trilogy, voicing optimism. And if the Fandom Menace could only achieve chasing away Lucas instead of getting what they actually wanted, which was the decanonization of the prequels, when they had near complete and total dominance across the internet, with no other outside voices being heard. I think now that there are more and more channels popping up that promote optimism, promote hope, promote happiness and love for Star Wars, the Fandom Menace doesn't have a shot in hell at getting rid of the sequel trilogy either. But we as a fan base have some important work ahead of us, because we have a real chance to maybe not remove the Fandom Menace forever from our lives. They will always exist. People who prey on the immature and childish emotions of other people. It's a tale as old as time. It will always be around. What we can do, though, to minimize their damage is by not remaining silent, not ignoring the problem. That didn't work. It didn't work in 20 plus years. They're still here. We have to try something new now. And what we can do is we can start showing our support to other channels, or start making your own. Start voicing your own opinion. Because if more and more voices start speaking up, if more and more people start investing the time to talk about their hope, their love, and their optimism for Star Wars, it's only a matter of time until one of those channels clicks. One of them blows up as big as Star Wars Theory, or Overlord DVD, or Geeks and Gamers. The difference is you're not peddling bullshit. We just have to put in the work in the right places and contribute to the cause of having our voices heard. And you can do it a number of ways. And the most minimum thing you could do is liking and subscribing to someone's channel that you think is promoting good quality Star Wars optimism and isn't peddling angry rage bait. But I think the best chance to completely drown out the Fandom Menace, the way they drown out every other opinion on the internet, is if more people take the time to just sit down in front of a camera and speak their love for Star Wars. Speak about the unity they want for Star Wars and the hope that they have for Star Wars. Not hatred, not anger, not this bitter resentment of whatever it is that you can find. But as to our responsibility as a fan base, we also, for those of us willing to go this far, to put in the work to make our voices heard, we have to do our best not to just replace the Fandom Menace and become the very thing we sought to destroy. And that's a very slippery slope. It can happen in an instant by becoming egotistical about our opinion, thinking that because we have thousands or millions of subscribers, suddenly our voice is law, and then we can say whatever we want. So we have to work to keep things in check, and we can't be tribal about our opinions or our side of things. If someone, even if they're on our side, is saying something toxic or hateful or really mean-spirited, we have to call them out the same way we call out the Fandom Menace. No exceptions. We cannot attack each other just because we share a differing opinion, even if it's negative. If someone does not like something, we, as non-toxic fans, have to accept that. We have to be able to accept their differing opinion. We should encourage having a discussion about it, but it shouldn't devolve into slander and nonsense the way the Fandom Menace does. And the same exact thing can be said about us as well. We cannot be the ones on the attack. And I've seen more than a few comments on my channel from people that I would say would agree with me handling someone who is just voicing a different opinion in a rather toxic way. And you know what? Even if they respond in a toxic way, that doesn't give you the right to respond toxically. You have to respond logically. You have to respond reasonably. And if they can't cool their jets, if they can't behave in a mature manner, then you let the conversation go and you let them go on being mad. I hope that if ever there's a time where any of my viewers see me commenting some rage-filled, angry rant against someone that just commented, well, I just respectfully disagree, I hope that you will do your part to shut me down and stand with that person who you would technically disagree with over siding with me. Because if I become the very thing I'm seeking to destroy, I'm not helping the fan base. I'm becoming just a new version of the Fandom Menace. And if we want peace, if we want to be able to go back to enjoying movies, we have to unshackle ourselves from that kind of burden of listening to people that only want us mad for their personal gain. We have a chance to reshape this fandom into something better and make the Fandom Menace far more obsolete than it ever was. And you know, at some point in time, there might have been a moment where the Fandom Menace could have been a united force for the fandom to back up behind. That could have been something where we all could have united behind and been able to voice our opinions in a rational, reasonable manner and let these companies know that are making these movies for us, these pieces of entertainment for us, exactly what we want to see. But thanks to the Fandom Menace's leadership, it's been corrupted beyond any ability for it to become that. It just needs to be let go. That organization just needs to be destroyed from the ground up. And what needs to come in its place needs to be starkly different in how we behave, how we treat each other, is what's going to help this fandom move on. It's what's going to help this fandom unite and move on together as a whole. But if anybody has the kind of fan base that I think is strong enough to pull through these dark times, to come out on the other side with this new age of light and understanding and reasoning and optimism and hope, it's this fandom. We've watched Star Wars. We know how this works.